Okay, just turned off. I do have to admit that I completely lost count. Why do I have it upside down? Please hold. I am on a steppy stool for no apparent reason. That makes a lot more sense. My camera is dead. Please hold. Hello lovely bookworms, I'm Esmay from Paradise Pages on Instagram and also on Twitter, and welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit crazy. I did this last year I think, but this year I'm once again going to do the 25 books for 2025. So last year was 24, this year it's 25. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one next year, but I have made a little spreadsheet in my reading journal, which I'm also going to be starting to film again from January onwards, and I thought I would share with you 25 books that I hope to read in this year. And most of these are books that I've been meaning to read for a long time, have been on my TBR a long time, those kinds of things. So what I have done is I'm on my phone, I made a little list. I also got my little ladder out because I'm pretty sure that some of them are like all the way up there that I can't reach to save my life, because this is not my top shelf. There's one above that I can't reach. So yeah, those are definitely books I don't look to as often. But let's start with book number one. I'm just gonna grab and go because I thought if I had to take out 25 books off my shelf and then clean it up again, that would be such a hassle. So without further ado, let's just start with book number one. So book number one is a book that has been on this list since like 2018, I want to say, and that is Lightbringer by Claire Legrand. This is the third book in the Furyborn series. I think it's the Imperium series, and I just really have to read it. So this is going on this list on the first spot for 2025. So book number two is one that I've also had for years, and that's And I Darkened by Kirsten White. This is a trilogy that I own the complete trilogy of and have been meaning to read for years. It's quite big. It actually stood in my TBR cart for a while. Can you see that? Yeah, it burned with the sun, poor thing. But I've been meaning to read this for years now, and I think I put it on the list last year as well. So let's just hope I can do that this year and look back on a year where I can at least tick off a few of these. But yeah, that's number two. I do want to say that I want to aim for at least half of them. So that means 12 and a half. I'm going to say 13. I want to finish 13 of these. Fingers crossed. Number three is coming from the same shelf, and that is The Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faizal. I think this is the first one in a series, trilogy, duology, I don't know. I've had this for a while as well. It is no secret that Hafsa Faizal is one of my favorite authors. I love her duology so much, and so I really have to read this. I think this is about vampires drinking tea, right? Maybe it's not about vampires. Maybe that's just in my head. No, it is! Catering to the vampires feared by society. So it is something with vampires. So that's number three. Number four, I think, is down here. Yes, it is. Number four is a sequel, and that is Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. I loved Little Thieves, but one way or another, I just never picked up the second one, which is a pure damn shame because I have a beautiful, I think, Illumicrate edition of this, and I loved the magic system in here. It even has the most beautiful hidden cover, and I just really have to read the sequel, so I'm putting that on the list for this year. Okay, number five. Number five is one that is also right behind me, and a book that I've had for years and have been meaning to read for years, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is one of those wintry books that every single winter I go, I'm gonna read it this year, and then I don't. I have the entire trilogy, and I should just bite the bullet and read it because a lot of people have loved it, and I think I would too. I just have to pick it up, and I haven't yet. So there's number five. I think that's number five. Only 20 more to go. Number six, I think, is one that I got last year, but is quite high up on my list to want to read, so that's why I put it on the list, and that is none other than The Jasted Error by Sarah Hashem. This is, I think, also a Illumicrate, yeah, Illumicrate exclusive. I bought this in the Trove because I loved the way that it looks. It's Egyptian inspired, that's the only thing I do know. and it is beautiful. So this is definitely one that I would like to read this year, hence why I put it on. It is quite daunting because it's quite big. I know that Femke, I think, has already read it and she really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna try to read it this year. I think a sequel is coming, if I remember correctly, and yeah, we need to read this one. This cover is just beautiful, isn't it? It's just, oh, lovely. Number 7 is from Blood and Ash. I know it's a red cover, I just don't know where I left it. There's a sequel up there. It's here. There it is. It was Heidi. It's hiding. So the next one is from Blood and Ash. Same thing, it is massive. I don't know why there is a natural sort of in between with this book. It's like a halfway mark. This is massive. The font is tiny, and I've heard good things about this, but also bad things, so that's why I'm not particularly prone on reading it, but I definitely want to at some point. I think, yeah, that's why I put it on this list. Let's just hope I like it. I think it's a romantasy as well, considering I'm really getting into those with, you know, all the explicit content as well. I hope I will at least like the first one. I have, I think the first 3 or something like that. But let's just start with book number 1. I think we're on number 8, and that's another chunker that's on the other shelf. And that chunker is another sequel, which is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I think the 3rd book is either coming out or is out already. I did enjoy the first book, but I don't think I'm going as, you know, I'm not as excited for these as some other people are. It is huge and also colored. I'm sad about it. Stupid Shen. Sorry, son. Yeah, this is about dragons, and I think it's a romantasy as well, so I think I will like it. It's just huge and daunting, so I'm putting it on the list for this year. I think we're on number 9, and this was a gift from a couple years ago, and that is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palprato. This I think I got from Naomi. Yeah, I got it a couple years ago, and I have yet to read it. It's quite huge. Again, I have the entire trilogy, I just haven't started the books yet. I do find that I'm more prone to reading completed series, weirdly enough, so I don't know why I haven't picked this up. I think this is also a desert vibe. Yeah, it says, I'm a daughter of death, from the ashes I rose like a phoenix from the pyre. I mean, this sounds exactly up my alley. High fantasy, hopefully some romance, and that's why I'm putting it on the list for this year. So the next one is a polar fantasy that I've been meaning to read for years as well, and that is Through the White Wood by Jessica Leek. I read her other book called, I'm not sure if I still have it, I think I've unhauled it, Beyond the Darkened Shore. Yeah, I did enjoy that one. This is definitely one of those standalone polar fantasies. I'm not sure if this would be a 5-star, but I want to just get it off my shelves if I don't like it. So I'm just gonna have to read it and see what I think. Okay, so I've definitely lost count, but the next one is right behind me, and that is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. Again, gorgeous, 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 but it has, I mean, it doesn't matter that much. It just looks yellow from the sprayed edges. It is not, but I have no idea what this is about. None. Your presence is required at once for urgent business. Please return to Cadence with your harp upon receipt. Pretty. It's probably signed as well. Indeed it is. Anyway, I have no idea what this is about, and I have been meaning to read it for a long time. I've heard good things, so that is why it is on the list. This grabbing books and then putting them back is definitely working for me because it's a lot nicer this way. Alright, the next one is actually hiding because I'm ashamed of how long I've had it. And that's this guy. King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is about Nikolai. I have heard mixed things. I also have Rule of Wolves. I've had it for years. I don't think I have to say that much. I think I got this from Waterstones at some point. Because it's also signed by Leigh, and I really like the Grisha-verse in general. I like Shadow and Bone. I liked Six of Crows. Sorry, I liked Shadow and Bone, Six of Crows. I also read Language of Thorns, which is up here somewhere because it's dark in color. my dark books are up there. I just have to read it. I've heard mixed things. I'm putting it on the list, I think, again. So there we go. I think the next one is actually right next to it. Is it? It is. And that is none other than The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. This is, again, a desert vibe book that I've been meaning to read for a long time. I don't think I have to explain too much about why I put these on here. Epic fantasy debut of uprising, espionage, and empire. I mean, if that doesn't scream read it now to you, I don't know what will. So, am I reading it now? Spoiler alert, no I'm not. So next up I have another big chunker, and that is Gemina. This is the sequel to Illuminae. I read the first book, really enjoyed it. It's a mixed media, which I think is very interesting. And, whoa, that was loud. I just never picked up the sequel or the third book, and I just have to this year, so I'm gonna put Gemini on the list to read it in 2025. I do have to say that I of course have the hope that once I get into these that I will also want to read the sequels of those if I have them, if they're out, but I'm not making myself any promises or delusions, because it's mostly delusions at this point. So I have another J. Kristoff book on the list, and that is Nevernight. I've heard so many good things about this. I have, again, the entire trilogy. I think this is a trend with me, that I just get all of the books and just don't read them. I do have quite a couple series that I have finished, don't get me wrong, but this is one that has always been too daunting to start, and I think I would really enjoy it if I do. I think this was a birthday gift years ago from Femke, and I've just never picked it up. This is signed as well. It has the most beautiful, I think it's a raven on there. But yeah, I need to read this. To change it up, this is a book that I don't have the entire series of. I'm not even sure if they're all out yet, but this is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This, I don't know anything about this. If you were to tell me that this is about fairy tales, I would believe you. I think it's a necromancing thing. Oh, I got it from Anya. Solar system of swordplay, cutthroat politics, and lesbian necromancers. That's really cool. I just haven't read it yet, and I should. So, putting Gideon the Ninth on this list. I do have to admit that I completely lost count, so I hope that I'm getting to at least 25 and I'm not missing anything. I'll check the list after we're done. But the next one is Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. This is a book that I was gifted, I think the first time I went to Book Market, which was 2023, by my boyfriend. And I have yet to read it, which is a shame because this is really cool. I think it's, yeah, I'm not even gonna speculate. At one point I knew what this was about, but right now, no such thing. Okay, just turned off. So what I was saying is that it's a paperback, so it is nice to read, and yeah, I'm putting it on the list for this year. Okay, I think the first book I'm gonna need a ladder for. Please hold. I'm on a steppy stool for no apparent reason. I am on a steppy stool for no apparent reason. I just used my ladder for nothing because it was right in front of me. And the next one is by V. Schwab, A Gathering of Shadows. This is a sequel to A Darker Shade of Magic, and this is part of the Shades of Magic trilogy. It's been out. I have all 3 books. My camera is dead. Please hold. I'll be back. This is very... Okay, I'll be back. Battery has been changed out, and as I was saying, Gathering of Shadows. This is the second book in the Shades of Magic trilogy, and I read the first one, really enjoyed the first one, just never continued. So this is going on my 2025 list. Okay, so I put a book on here that I am not particularly keen on reading, but I do know that I'm getting 2 more books from the same author somewhere this year because I pre-ordered them. And let me get it out. That is none other than The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. So I have, they're so pretty. I have Under the Whispering Door as well. Can you just see how incredibly beautiful that naked cover is? And I have yet to read it. I've heard good things about it. I think that this is definitely outside of my comfort zone, but it's one of those books that I should just bite the bullet and read, because I think, why do I have it upside down? That is upside down, Esmay. Oh gosh. What I wanted to say is that this is one of those books that I've had for a long time. Now that makes a lot more sense. How did I not notice that? Gorgeous. But I think that this is one of those books that I will love once I get into it, but I just haven't yet for some apparent weird reason, so this is going on the list. So I have another final book in a series. I did enjoy the first and the second book, and that is Girls of Fate and Fury by Natasha Nagan. I actually cried during the second book, and I never picked up the third one. I think this is Fairy Loot. That's how long I've had it. Oh, that's a Femke color. That is Femke's favorite color. Let me see, is it signed? It is also signed. I really liked the trilogy, but I just never picked up the third book, so I'm putting that on the list for this year. Oh, this is a shameful one. We're gonna do it. Yeah. Morgan Rhodes Fallen Kingdom series. I read the first and the second one. I've been saying this for ages. You have to be read this year, buddy. You do. They're not even that difficult to read. I wrote an essay on the first book back when I was still in college. That's how long I've had this for. Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much. I'm gonna put it back. We're gonna put it on the list and pretend like it's not a thing. I put a fun one on here because I want to read a couple more classics. I decided to put one of my Penguin classics on here, and it's the one that I most recently acquired, which is none other than Chinese Cinderella by Adeline Yen Ma. This is a Cinderella story with Chinese mythology, or at least Chinese culture in it. I'm really excited. So it's not that big, and I think that this would be a really cool addition to my list. I do want to see if in the coming years I can read a bit more broad, so more genres. I want to read some more classics, dabble my feet into sci-fi, that kind of thing. So that's why I put that one on there. I need my steppy stone, the steppy stool, because the next one is up there and I'm tiny, so please hold again. So the first one that I grabbed from up there is To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X Chang. This is... I love the sprayed edges on this so much. I think this is mythology as well. I have a friend who actually read this and really enjoyed it, so that's why I decided to buy it. There's a bookmark in here. Have I read? I read a chapter. This is one of my favorite bookmarks, which is by Basically Brit, or at least back then. The little tassel broke though, so that's kind of sad. But I put this one on the list, and yeah, I'm excited to dive into this one. Tell me, no, it's not upside down. I'm scared now that all my hardbacks are upside down in their dust jackets. Then the next one I have is a Tricia Levenseller book. This one is not that big, so that's nice. And that's The Darkness Within Us by Tricia Levenseller. This is the sequel to The Shadows Between Us. This is about her sister, so it's not the same protagonist. But I really like the writing style in this series. The Shadows Between Us was one of my favorites of hers, and I think I've read almost all of them. So on the back it says Shadows Between Us. I've read that one. Blade of Secrets, Master of Irons, read that one. Warrior of the Wild, Daughter of the Pirate King, Daughter of a Cyan Queen. The only thing I did not read was Vengeance of the Pirate Queen and this guy. So I'm gonna dive into this. It actually matches the first book beautifully, and it is just so stunning. It has these very beautiful sprayed edges as well, and I'm putting this on the list. I think we're on to the last book. So this book is none other than What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This is a book about Egyptian mythology. I know that Femke's read it and really enjoyed it, so I really need to read it. I also own the sequel to this, so that's why I put it on the list. I don't want this to become a backlog book, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna read this one hopefully in 2025. Alright, let me quickly check and go over the list to see if I have all of them, because 25 is a lot to keep track of. So I have Lightbringer, And I Darken, The Tempest of Tea, Painted Devils, The Bear and the Nightingale, The Josset Air, From Blood and Ash, Iron Flame, Crown of Feathers, Through the Whitewood, A River Enchanted, King of Scars, The Unbroken, Nevernight, Jamuna, Gideon the Ninth, Godkiller, A Gathering of Shadows, The House in the Cerulean Sea, Girls of Fate and Fury, Gathering Darkness, Chinese Cinderella, To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, What the River Knows, and the darkness within us. So that's, I think, 25 books, 25 for 25, and I make myself no illusions. I hope I can at least tick off some of them for the year, but I'll keep track of those in my journal, which I'll be filming soon as well. And I want to thank you so much for watching. This was a very long list. That said, I hope you will subscribe to our channel, press the little bell icon so you can post notifications every single time that we post, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!